How's it going, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of Music in the Minor League. This week we're joined by Little Outfit, our friends Randy Hill and Amie Krebbs. We've known them for a long time. I've been in multiple bands with Randy over the years. It was good to finally sit down and talk to them, because sitting down and talk to them meant they have a brand new record coming out. It's a self-titled record. It's coming out later this month. So we had a chance to sit down and talk to them about it. If you're interested in checking it out when it drops, it will be coming out on the 25th. So 1 week from today, you'll be able to get this record, man. It's solid. We definitely recommend doing that. This weekend, they'll be previewing a little bit of it on KPFT at 2 p.m. Be on there with Sandy on Deadbeat. It's going to be a great one. Check it out. And then they have a release show coming up on the 29th at Shoeshine Charlie's Big Top Lounge. Go check it out, man. It's going to be great. Matt Harlan's on that bill. Matt's a beast. Little Outfit's going to be bringing everybody that they can think of to come help do this thing. So come out and support them, and they'll appreciate it, man. Go follow them on all your streaming networks. That's the main thing you can do to help. Speaking of which, like always, moving to the housekeeping. Follow us on anywhere you can. Tell friends about Little Outfit, man. Let's get the word out. That helps a great deal. Now, to cut through the intro, man, just get to the interview because it's a good one. What are we up to? Well, we're fixing to hit the road this week. We don't have anything this weekend, so we're going to take it easy, rest up, and get ready to hit the road, because on next Wednesday, July 26th, we'll be up in Wichita, Kansas at Kirby's Beer Store with Grifters and Chills, Natalie Prosser, and Marty Bush. Going to be a good one, man. If you're around Wichita, come say hi. The next night, on the 27th, we'll be in Lawrence, Kansas at Replay Lounge with Dump Star and Grifters and Chills. Next night on the 28th, we'll be in Memphis, Tennessee at the High Tone. We're really stoked to be back in Memphis, man. Love that city. Grifters and Chills and Heels will be on that bill. On July 29th, we'll be heading back to Little Rock, Arkansas, one of our homes away from home. We'll be at Four Quarter Bar. That will be with Grifters and Chills and Emily Fenton. Hopefully we can get her while we're up there to do a podcast episode, man. Emily's killer, and she's had a new record drop. So anyway, enough about us. Let's move on and get to it, man. We're going to kick it off with a song from the new album from Little Outfit. This one's called Might As Well. Hope you dig it. See you on the other side.
Hard to tell what I'm doing here. Feels like I paid my pennies. Now I'm just wasting my time. I'm trying to show you the ways I changed, but it's no use. Flipped a coin, might as well get high. Might as well get high. I'm leaving you behind. Other ways you couldn't make up your mind. Always wanted something new. I left you on the low road to follow through. I know what I want, might as well get high. Hard to tell what I'm doing here. Giving up on my habits. Now I'm running dry. Always choosing the devil, I know, not no more. Flipped a coin, might as well get high. Might as well get high. I'm leaving you behind. Other ways you couldn't make up your mind. Always wanted something new. I left you on the low road to follow through. Know what I want, might as well get high. Told me I was lazy, called me crazy, said this wasn't worth a thing. Kicked me out then, and turned around and begged me not to leave. Might as well get high, leaving you behind. All the ways you couldn't make up your mind.
All right, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Music in the Minor League. Today we are joined by our good friends in Little Outfit, Randy Hill and Miss Amie Krebbs. We're very happy to see them. They have a new album coming out, so we're going to talk a little bit about it. Talk about the fact that I know Randy and I have known each other for many, many, many years now.
Many years.
And by connections, as long as I've known Kim, Kim's known Randy. So, and Amie as well. So I was trying to remember. I was like, yeah, Amie outdates you.
Yeah, man.
And then I guess because of the connection with the Grizzly Band, then there's the Health.
Yep.
We're all connected.
Guilty as charged.
Because we were kind of, I don't know if I was there or not, but
you were there because the first Wayward Son show was Grizzly's first show.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'd played, like I always said during Chad's episode, we did that one-off last-minute thing at Rudyard's where it was me, you, and Hugh, just like trio thing.
Right.
But our first real full band to ever remember there was Corner Pub with Grizzly.
Right.
That was way in the pre-Halfian times.
That was also pre-the and band.
Right. It was Grizzly,
Pre-lawsuit.
Pre-lawsuit.
Cease and desist.
That's so funny.
Well, and I want to say that when we all met, Sam and I hadn't even been dating like 3 months.
Days.
No, it would
Yeah.
have,
it wasn't
real
long.
early.
It wasn't, I met you guys before I met Ben Hall.
Was it before or
Oh,
after the second
wow.
date?
Yeah, it was after second
Well, we weren't
date.
Little Outfit then, were we?
Yeah, y'all were
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Probably barely. Because y'all have been together how long now?
8 years, and I want to say y'all did Little Outfit before that.
Yeah, we've been together 10.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
20,
so it's Little
over
Outfit
10 technically.
outdates me and Kim, because I remember it popped up a while back, like something at Bohemios, where it was like our first Little Outfit. I'm like, Little Outfit's been around that long.
I mean, yeah, we could
Doing nothing.
We could release a decade of compilation of all the things we haven't been doing.
I was going to say, maybe we'll just talk about the new album instead of that compilation of what we haven't been doing.
Well, it happens. Eventually, you go through lineup changes and things like that, and then finally you settle into the proper lineup and you get a record made.
Exactly. I was thinking about the math of it. I think we started doing initial tracking in September of 21.
Yep, that's correct.
September 18th of 21.
Something like that, yeah.
Is that weekend we hauled all of our producers and sound engineer, Jeff McDonald, all his gear to the house and basically created a mobile recording studio from what he already had and what we needed to put together to make that record happen at our house. So we converted our home, which is a building built in 1926. So there's plaster and there's brick and there's wood.
Brand new laundry room, though.
Yeah.
Excellent for vocal recording.
And the laundry room with the Laundry Mountain and a IKEA futon on end became an isolation booth with Mexican blankets.
Nice.
And it worked. And so we kind of, it was definitely hodgepodge, but even Jeff was like, this is going to work. I'm getting good tracking off of this. And of course, there's the classic guitar amp in the bathroom. In our drum room, the acoustics were a queen size mattress behind the drum kit.
Yeah, propped against the wall.
And he was like, we're getting drum room verb in the corners, but we're getting super dead drum. So there wasn't like a huge amount of overkill decay, for lack of a better term, because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Throw some words in there.
And we just started doing it. And by the time the real musicians showed up, our drummer tracked amazing. Drummer's not here today. Bryant Talley is our drummer, and he is the third member of Little Outfit that I would call.
He's the heartbeat.
The heartbeat, yeah.
Shout out Bryant.
Yeah.
Shout out Bryant.
A lovely, lovely human being who unfortunately has a bad habit of, oh, by the way, I cooked the best food ever, but I didn't bring it to band practice. That's not always true. He's certainly fat.
Is that what you do, Hal?
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
So you're a dick.
Yeah, so he has fed us, but more often than not, we see on Instagram, she sees on Instagram that, oh yeah, here's what I cooked. And of course, it's something insane. But anyway,
But he's a good drummer. We're really not,
But I mean, if you really know Little Outfit and you've been around,
They're all
there's a
about
few
the
times
food.
where, like we did shows where I'd play some pedal steel, or not pedal steel, sorry, I'm overselling myself. The lap steel, the 6-string thing you sit on your lap. Sorry, I was trying to make myself sound cool, but no. And that was one thing. You always start every practice with a meal. So
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yep.
never were hungry when you started. There was no excuse like, I got to go, dude, because I got to go to dinner. It's like, shit, I already ate. Got to stay. And,
You came over to the house and played steel
yeah.
at our house?
Yeah.
For practice?
Yeah.
That's right.
That was like 150 years ago.
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
That was like a
yeah.
Bohemios
Oh,
thing,
yeah, that's right.
You guys
Well, we
look
fed
so
you.
good for your age.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was, we learned that from Dave Chappelle's block party.
The Roots.
Questlove was on Dave Chappelle's block party, which was somewhat of a documentary. And they were talking about how the band formed in Philadelphia. But on Sundays was band day / family day. They got together regardless and ate together. And if they jammed, they jammed, but they broke bread.
That's cool.
Yeah, she made a note about that. And we have pretty much for 10 or 12 years on Tuesday nights,
We always eat together.
we always eat together. You know, and like I said, sometimes that's detrimental. Sometimes it's like, okay, we're way too full to play.
I mean, it's rare, but every once in a while there is
It's
like
just-
an overeating situation where it's like, okay, that was too good, and now we all just have to
It's
hold our bellies.
Never
and-
happened.
We're just not going to sing
It was
because
not
like,
so
oh.
good that we couldn't practice.
I mean,
Darn.
it'll devolve into YouTube videos of sometimes music, but also it can go down
Oh,
really.
so that happens to you guys too.
Yeah, it can go really
YouTube
really
videos.
weird.
We're not the only ones.
Yeah, for sure. But
Oh, so y'all do that?
but no, you know,
I saw on
This
YouTube
video.
this week.
Well, I mean, look at what we're doing tonight instead of practicing, you know. So,
right? Is today normally practice Monday
yeah,
night? for y'all?
Mondays
Monday
are.
nights.
Yeah. Well, we.
Oh, we're gonna feed y'all after this,
Yeah.
so get ready to eat and not
Y'all
practice.
think about what y'all want to eat after this because we're starving.
Great. So now everyone's like, I just want to be on their podcast so we'll get fed.
Yeah,
Right.
it's beautiful.
It's our 10th straight episode with Little Outfit.
Track by track, little outfit.
Where we left off last week.
But going back to the record, we 100% reached out the community, including y'all and John and Rebecca from Grifters and Shills, and many members of bands that are known throughout the Houston area and beyond to get this record made. And thank God, we were able to do this with people who have become friends, people in the music community that we didn't really know all that well. But I like, for instance, Scott Benton, who plays all the keyboards on the record. I wrote him via Facebook, messaged him a fairly lengthy, and I mean, I don't know where my phone number was in it. It wasn't at the end. It was in there pretty midway. So he didn't finish reading it before he called me and said, I'm in.
That's cool.
There's no way. He got here's my contact information, we can start talking about. And so halfway through, he was like, he called and we had this great conversation. He's like, I'm in. I'm so excited. Let's do this. And he contributed,
He's probably my favorite part of the album.
Yeah.
Like every time I hear the keys kick into anything, especially like the beginning of Might As Well, I kind of geek out. And just
Well, it was a progression that musically that I had thought about for years, which was funny for me because I just recently talked about the things that kind of made me crazy in the 80s in my teen years. Listening to music was things that I did not like is now things I could not imagine living without on a record. Like I kind of remember not really being a huge fan of Tom Petty from the 70s and the 80s because it had very, pertinent keyboards. But
Yeah.
it wasn't, and it wasn't heavy guitar. It was, now I know, correct and beautiful, amazing guitar and well-placed keyboards. Same thing with a song like Cuts Like a Knife, Bryan Adams. Thought it was drivel, garbage in the 80s. And listening to it back to it now, I'm like, oh, that's perfection. It's not the best song in the world, but as far as how it was arranged, the keyboards, the drums, the guitar, it's like, oh man, I would kill to have a track like that on the radio because of how it hits
Now,
emotionally.
All the best rock bands have great keyboard organists and stuff. It really
Yeah.
is. I mean, it's a huge part for me. I'm like, yeah, when someone's got that going correctly, it's like, man, that's right on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look at how bands like Green Day, they now have a full-time touring keyboardist.
Yeah,
They really-
Lucero.
Yeah, Lucero said-
I mean,
yeah.
When you first heard Lucero, you're like, oh my god, this is greasy and rough, but it's also about girls, and girls loved it. Like girls loved Lucero,
all the best albums were about girls.
but it was heartbreaking music, and then they changed their sound and added keys and horns. You're like, wait, what's this? And then you're like, nope, that's gonna be just fine.
Yep.
Yeah, like Drive-By Truckers have
Yep.
keys and stuff. Not every song, but you can switch off, add guitar, some keys
Yeah.
here and there. I mean, so many great bands. You know, you go back as far as, you know, big 70s bands. Like everybody had somebody.
Oh,
in
no,
there.
I mean, I listening to like very young first album REO Speedwagon. It's like, you know, here's a lead singer, maybe not the most beautiful man on planet Earth, but he had chops. He could sing and play piano. They also had a keyboard player. They also had a ripping guitar player, great rhythm section, killer harmonies. It's like, oh, okay, this is better than people gave it credit for. It, you know, but it was just so common on the radio that you were like, this is
Another one.
yacht
Just like
rock,
the last
you
one,
know,
yeah.
but you go back, it's like, oh, this is a rock and roll band playing their asses off.
Right.
It's like, okay, I need to shut up and listen and learn how it's done by musicians who are, you know, trying to feed their families.
I mean, look at Van Halen. They had a few marginal hits, and then they brought the keys in on Jump. Bam. Got to have the keys.
Yeah. I think it was Jump, not Bam.
No, I said they did Jump, and then bam. It was like into the stratosphere. They became like this huge band. So it's all about the keys.
Well, because I get up and nothing ever gets me down.
There it is. It's happened.
And that's what the keys can do to you.
But, you know, that the being very frightened to ask the questions that we asked of people to help us. Like, because I've, you know, the only recording I've really been involved in at a level where I knew what the final product was going to be, they were all kind of haphazard, and there was no room for that. I think in this making of this, it wasn't, let's see what happens. It was click track. It was scratch guitar. It was scratch vocals. And then we've got one day with our bass player, but he gave us the entire day.
Mr. Mark Riddell.
Yeah, Mark Riddell, who is out.
Some guy on bass.
Some guy on bass. That's right. Who will not, fortunately and unfortunately, will not be able to play or attend our record release show because he's got to go play bass for Whitey Morgan in the 78s up in Minnesota that day. A throw and go show, no rehearsals, fly in and play the show.
Yeah. Well, I wonder what Alex is doing. I'll have to hit him up and see what the hell he's got going on.
There you go. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I'm friends with all those guys.
So it was scary, but you did it.
Yeah.
You
And
guys came out with a really killer final product.
yeah, it does sound good. Jeff was very sweet as he, you know, shared the information online. He said we were very particular about the sound. We didn't say that's good enough. And I think it has a lot to do with, you know, I certainly went in and said, I want all of this. And it just started getting pared down and, you know, down to meat and potatoes. And I made notes about, you know, next time.
Oh, you made so many notes.
Yeah. I mean, I still have a phone full of it, and there's paper notes too, but okay, I know what to do better next time. And what also happened was Jeff and I, as he is an engineer, Jeff McDonald, we haven't said that out loud a bunch.
We did. But we should say it more. Jeff McDonald
is a really good engineer and very patient. And when he say, well, I know what you want, but here's what it's going to take to do that. Are you sure you want to do it that way? Or we could cut to the chase, and I think you'll be happier with the results. It's like, yes, let's cut to the chase and streamline it. And
you gotta love people who say, I know what you want, and I think I can get you there without doing exactly what you want.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
no,
Like, I know that
Because they know better.
well, at least the end result is where you want it to be, you know?
But also, we discovered we had a chemistry, and he started using the word producers. Like, you know, you're producing this record. I'm like, I didn't know that. He goes, well, you are, because I'm engineering it. But the things that you're asking for, the things that you're catching that I might have missed sonically, you're catching. And I kind of wish you'd been in the room when I was making my record.
Yeah, you've got a hell of a producer's ear. You hear things that are...
And I was like, hey, what if we did this? And we had that conversation as friends on a couch Saturday night about what if we, you know, next time, let's switch things around. Let's let, you know, some of this technology do the work, and some of the analog stuff that people use in a very common manner that are kind of industry, this is how you do it. What if we didn't do that? What if we did it, you know? And it's like, well, they are doing that, but they also have, you know, $10,000 vintage, you know, Neumann microphones that are, you know, been around since... This is Sinatra's. Please put it back where you
they
found
have
it.
the option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you don't,
Yeah.
that kind of helps if you're willing to say, this is all we have, let's just go.
Well, a lot of the new technology now, too, man. I mean, you see plenty of big studios, like, you know, selling off all their vintage gear. Like, hey, this was used on this. Pay us even like 5 times market value currently.
Yeah.
Just because it's worth something for nostalgic reasons
Sure.
more than that. And it's like because they're able to make microphones that capture things just as well or similarly for, a fraction of the cost.
Oh, yeah.
I always like watching all the electric audio stuff they do where it's like, cool, you can do this, or here's this microphone costs like $800 and this is the 4,000 one we used to use, and now we're selling it on Reverb because it was used on like insert album, and we're going to buy 5 of these. So we have one for every part of our studio. So, it's just stuff like that.
Sure.
Like it's just, luckily it's getting more economical to be.
Yeah.
If anybody would like to purchase part of the Laundry Mountain that was used in the recording of the Little Outfit album.
With authentic Mexican blankets.
We got a futon. It's ready to go.
IKEA futon. I think sonically the particle board versus the white pine will give you what you're looking for that indie rock sound. That did work extraordinarily well.
But it is stuff like that helps. Because, talking to Eric Amble over the years, who's a, brilliant producer, recording engineer that is always way almost too generous in information.
Yeah.
It's just like, man, like, well, dude, we just throw up, like, make a V out of stands and then just put 2 moving blankets up and post you in the corner, then put one behind you. And it's like, there, you have a vocal booth.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I was like, oh, okay. Just go to U-Haul and get some cheap moving blankets and build a booth using boom stands you already have 14 of lying around.
Right.
Well, I know. I like the old thing was like, to make a room perfectly for sound, either build a room inside of a room. That was the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
I got a buddy, speaking of the 78s, Brett Robinson, who used to be their pedal steel player. He decided to open up a studio called the Alabama Sound Company.
Okay.
They took an old schoolhouse. He did nothing to it. He just put vintage gear in there and built a couple of sound barriers, and that's it.
Yeah.
And he's getting sounds like, you're like, what the hell?
Yeah,
People are coming to him now, and he's only been around for about a couple of years.
It's that, the theory, like schoolhouses and old churches, like choir lofts and wood and space can give you the things that you fight tooth and nail to get from your tubes, from your compressors, from your rack, from your isolation. And it's, I think, well, I'll go in another direction real quick. Our friend Gordy Quist from Band of Heathens, 90% of their bass tones are a P bass running through a vibratch amp, a 6-watt guitar amp.
Oh, wow.
Is there with a 10 or a 12-inch speaker in it is their favorite way to record bass. And it's not, and it's a mic'd amp, but it's tube and it's warm and it's 6 watts. So if they need it to compress, they just turn it up. If they need it to not compress, they keep it at a lower volume. And it's, I don't know if it's a trade secret, but
you're
I was
outing
like,
right now.
I certainly made a note of, when we recorded our bass, we ran a DI. We used a cabinet with a 15 in it with a kick drum mic to capture bass tones, and we got great notes from Mark about how to record. He's like, my bass should sound awful EQ wise so that you can build beautiful EQ around it, and it will, and it did. We ended up really recording this record around his bass playing, because he for sure didn't phone that shit in. And he could have, and it would have been amazing, but he played his ass off, and he played a style of bass for this record that kind of, I don't really know how to put it, but he also brought a 70s era P bass. It was
a slab of wood.
It was a slab of wood. It was very funky. It wasn't, and he's been playing it a lot lately because he's found that sound. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that in recording. Is like, here's what you need to think in these terms. This needs to be almost ugly. So
he's got to find that place it fits in the spectrum.
So that it's not occupying the pretty stuff. And so when the drums come in, and they played together, we tracked them together, and they were in the same room, eyeball to eyeball, and so they were kind of doing that telepathy. I told Bryant just the other day, I can listen to the hi-hat alone on Might As Well. And that goes back to Jeff recording it really well. I could just sit there and listen to that and just be really pleased with that song.
Nice.
That way I can ignore my guitar playing.
Well, see, that's a good thing, though. You can actually go back and listen to your record and be like, yeah, man, I like that. It's good. Normally it takes me months, like 6 months afterwards before I can objectively hear it, because that first few months I still know where every weird tick is, or just every little weird thing that happens. You may not hear, there's a point where like a hi-hat, or I bounced this. I don't notice all the way through till the end, till it's all mixed. It's like I bounced a snare there, like I did
Right. So what the term you're looking and when you speak of your record at that point, you have to use the word organic.
Well, it's just even when you get there, then you get 6 months later, I could not tell you where that beat is.
No.
It's like, dude, I know what happened in this song, but like I don't hear it ever again. Like headphones in, like I know this is where I bumped this, and it's like I don't hear it anymore. It's like I can't find it. But when you know it's there, it's like
One of the first things I did with the singles as they came out is I put them into shuffle, into playlists, so that they would have other songs around them by other artists and
See how they compare.
Yeah, exactly.
That's smart.
subconsciously,
Yeah, that's good,
it's
though.
like, is this, and we also, I think when we recorded it, we listened to it, we listened to mastered versions of it up against other mastered versions that Jeff had done of his own record, and was like, okay, here's how this hits in iTunes in their lossless compression or whatever. Here's what it's going to sound like comparatively. I'm not going to do much. I'm going to bring this back down so that when it hits that, when they hit it, it'll squeeze those things that I didn't squeeze. And so it's like, oh, okay. And so very pleased to hear our songs in amongst people who I've listened to their songs a million times, and it just doesn't stick out.
Good.
Yeah.
It doesn't stick out.
We're like, oh, this was
But-
recorded at home, and they didn't know what they were doing. It's like,
Right.
sonically, it holds up.
it fits right in. It's like, oh, that's, some instances it's like, oh, that's, we might have made that better than that other guy.
Right. Sorry, Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
Hack.
Step it up.
Step it up, buddy. You in your bedroom and you're 57.
No, I
Leather
mean, that
vest.
makes a big difference, man, just to be able to kind of hear, especially when you're not paying attention. The best part's when, like, some point, like, I have music running in my office all the time, and it'll come on, like, I won't realize it's us. I'm like, oh, that sounds cool, and I'll be like, because it's familiar.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, I know that riff. They're like, what is that? It's like, oh, dude, that's us. And, like, it didn't go, when it came on, I wasn't like, oh, because even if I know it's us, I'm like, this sounds like shit. But when I don't, I'm like, oh, that sounds great. I had a professor when I was at U of H who said that. He's like, I walked in because I had, like, your record on, like, my iTunes, and it came up. I was like, I like that song, man. It's a good one. And went over and he goes, it was yours. And I was like, cool. I was like, so he goes, so I guess you did pretty good on that, because it was like coming off of something else. It wasn't like, oh yeah, there's that bedroom recording thing they made.
Well, no, yeah. Some, like my high school friends that, I haven't seen or been around. We very luckily, one of my childhood friends from Michigan came to visit while we were mixing. I think Might As Well. It was either Might As Well or last one. I think it was Might As Well. And he was, kind of beside himself. He was like, that's you? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, and that's her? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, and this is your band? I was like, the guys playing on the record, we wish were our band. Which is
We do have great people
which
playing
is
with
something we
us.
should talk about coming up here pretty quick. In some point in the podcast is where we are now as far as the musicians we're playing with. We don't know if they're permanent members. It would be a lottery win if they were, but to kind of go back to the record, it does sound like a band. It doesn't sound like session players punching it in.
Right.
And there are some songs on the album that we did use some session guys off who did work on their own in their own studios and send it in for us. And Jeff, once again, is very good at making a seamless transition of tracks that came from elsewhere. And we didn't use everything. And that was interesting, like sending it back to the guys and goes, tell me if you can find out where we used you. And they're like, where am I? I'm like, listen, I didn't think about using it that way. That's all.
cool.
That was a cool feeling to use.
Well, and also that he wasn't precious about what he sent to us, where, he sent us a bunch and all we used was like a one note
that is
slide.
Well, a lot of that works, man, because I know I get those people you get to do stuff outside, like Liz from Urban Pioneers when she did all the fiddle work and stuff. It was just like, here's the verse done this way, here's the verse done
Right.
that
Yeah.
way.
Right.
Here's the chorus, and she would do like two tracks. So basically, you'd have like 4 different choruses, 4 different verses, and figure out what you want. And then we'd be like, cool, the first 2 bars of this sound great.
Right.
Second
And that's
2 bars fit here.
Thank you, technology.
Right. That's an amazing feeling on both ends of that.
Yeah.
To have someone say, I sent you this, and this because I heard this and I think this would work better, but this is what you asked for. And, it's a little bit of a lottery win to have someone be willing to send in multiple things, but that kind of helps them in the future for their hireability as a session player because they're generous with what they offer. And, you as the engineer or the producer of that, picking and choosing things that serve the song is, also says thing or two about your vision. And when people contribute and they're like, oh, I see how you use that. That's not, I didn't know that was going to happen that way. Awesome. And so they get excited about how their music was used in your record or your process, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm terrible. I'm going measure to measure. Like, oh, did too much at the end of that riff. Let's cut that, and this riff from way down here, we'll bring that back to the intro.
Now you know all the secrets, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
It is cut and paste.
well, I mean, and
We certainly did that.
Because the
I mean,
album's not real. It's like it's the Vogue cover. I mean, that's like we did it. That's us made up and pretty sounded, and on the perfect day at the perfect time with the perfect EQ in the right room with the perfect treatment.
Airbrushed
Wearing your
not-
lipstick.
Right. It's not
Right.
like this is live's going to be different. It's going to be
Right.
a little dirtier. It's
Well-
going to be a little this and that. So for me personally, I have well, no, if it was played this way, we should leave it. We should edit anything. It's like, whatever, dude. Like it's
right. Well, I mean, you can harken back to the days of Tom Petty making Full Moon Fever with Jeff
Lynne.
Jeff Lynne from ELO, is that he brought, hey, come in and do this.
Ding, ding,
one note on the piano. If you're going to be involved in this record, Benmont,
Yeah.
if you're going to be involved, here's the note. And when it was Rick Rubin, it was still a solo record, but more and more heartbreaker, and there was still some of that, like I only need you to do this part or whatever, but there was the ego thing of I'm Benmont 10 to the Heartbreakers, but then to take it out live, Tom turned to him and just said, now I
Right.
need you to do what it is you do, because no one else on planet Earth is you. And he's like, oh, okay, now I understand where I am in this band, and we are the best American rock and roll band out there. Yes, I'm going to shine, like you said.
Yeah.
And you and I recently, Sam and I traded texts recently because I've been listening to a band that we both really like, Faith No More. And what song was it that I said y'all should do a Brightwire version of it?
Oh, man.
What track was that?
I don't blink.
It's not on Angel Dust. It's on the other.
No, I was on King for a Day.
Yeah, King for a Day.
If we need approval, I can call the bass player. He's a friend of a friend.
No.
All right.
Oh,
man.
nice.
You don't even call
There
your
we
real
go.
friends. What are you talking about?
Now I'm like, what song is this? Just have a
I remember. Hold on.
dead air.
Hey, Amy, how are you?
No, I got you, baby. I got you. I got you, baby.
We have not had
All
any
good,
music
edit it out.
conversations.
Ashes
lately.
to Ashes.
Okay, yeah.
It was Ashes to Ashes. I was like, oh, I could hear Sam singing this. But when you think Brightwire and Faith No More, how do you deconstruct and or build on something as big as that?
You should play it for me in the car.
Oh, yeah,
So I can.
it's-
I mean, me and Mike Patton, man,
Very
pretty
similar
much
vocals.
I mean, sometimes
Good
you want it
similar
all, but you
range.
just can't have it.
That's so good looking.
both, yeah.
The thing about both bands is we care a lot.
We do care a lot.
Well, so normally, I know we've talked a lot about the album, but normally we talk about like how you got started in music.
I'm
You
gonna
want to
let-
talk about that?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to hear. So is Little Outfit like your first musical outlet?
Well, that depends on
Were
when
you
you
in
start
other
the
bands
clock.
before? I mean, I don't know.
Technically, yes. Okay, so
Technically, no.
I started. I was with Lori and
Oh, yeah,
Rachel
second
Jones.
band.
And,
That's
yeah,
what-
technically my second band,
Yeah.
even though the first band never played out. We didn't last very long. But growing up, I started taking piano lessons when I was like 5. Those didn't last very long because I wanted to play Elton John immediately, and my piano teacher did not understand that I didn't have the time to learn Mary Had a Little Lamb. I need to play Crocodile Rock, and I need to play it now.
Duh, priorities. Come on.
Come on. What is it? I'm not playing baby music. So I gave up piano really quickly, like just long enough to learn middle C and where the notes are, but I can't play piano. But then played the flute all through elementary up through high school.
What's up, band nerd?
I know, yeah. The best times were,
Indeed.
band trips. But then, like, once I graduated from high school, I was able to really explore, like, my visual art side because, there were not enough hours in the day to take all the classes you wanted to in high school. And so music was on the back burner and just, did karaoke and whatnot. Also was singing all through high school, in choir. And then met Randy almost 20 years ago and started hanging out with a bunch of musicians in Houston and was introduced to Matt Harlan and his then wife, Rachel Jones, and I was in a band with Rachel Jones for a very brief period of time. And our friend Lori Watley, and then Allison, what was Allie's last name?
I don't remember.
I hope she doesn't listen to this and is offended that I don't remember her last name.
In your text message.
But my friend Lori that I was in the band with, she actually helped finish Bleeding Heart Blues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were always writing.
I mean, I've always kept a journal and have like written, but as far as like songwriting, that's still really difficult for me. I'll get about a verse and a half, maybe a verse and a chorus into something, and then be like, okay, the feeling's gone. I don't know what to do now. Somebody else here, have this.
Actually, no. So to a certain level, all of the songs on the record, for the most part, 6 out of the 8 tracks are Amie's lyrics exclusively, except for Bleeding Heart Blues, which was a co-write with Lori
and Matt
Harlan. But one of the songs, Ghost, was loosely based on a story I told her about seeing someone on my bike ride to work there was no way that person could be where they were in that, at the time. And so it was a vocal contribution that set off a lyrical.
It was like the Dewey Cox moment, though, like, oh.
Yeah.
And
Don't write a song right now.
right.
Tell a story.
And so I think she's selling herself short that, this
It's still difficult for me. I mean, I might come up with some bangers.
I just call myself I'm a baby songwriter.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. It just sometimes they come to me.
Y'all should woodshed together.
We should, like, I've
Y'all
actually got
should
some
really
lyrics
woodshed together. I mean, just because I think I used to be a singer-songwriter. Like, I used to play the circuit in Houston.
That's true.
And I don't know any of my songs. I don't remember how to play them. I don't know the lyrics. And so...
They're not written down anywhere?
They are not anymore. Maybe 1 or 2 of them still exist in written form somewhere. So I had a lucky run of songwriting where there were viable songs that other people wanted to hear, that bandmates wanted to play, and that whatever that was that struck, the magic of having lyrics that kind of just erupted from me. I don't know how I tapped into it, and I know why it went away, because I tapped into something else musically. But like I said, I think the more that Amie is around people who are also in the throes, baby songwriting, that y'all can probably hit that thing where it's like, where you're almost calling each other every day. I wrote 6 lines, or I wrote a word, or whatever. But, I wrote with Ben Hall. And in one night, like 3 songs, they came out somewhere, and it was on like the EP that the Dragliners did, and I kind of forgot that we had written together, but it was just being in the room with someone who couldn't help themselves but write songs, and I wasn't really like that, but I could contribute things that I felt like made better songs. But anyway,
yeah, it's kind of like what me and Kim bring to the podcast. It's all Sam. We're just like
100%.
Well,
yeah.
Or whipped cream and cherry.
It's
I'm
kind of
like
cool,
a cherry in the
Who's
nut.
who?
You're chocolate sprinkles.
I'll take that. That's a great compliment.
Well, it's kinda
Or chocolate
cool, too.
Jimmies, as they used to call them.
Jimmy's.
when you have all the texting back and forth stuff like that, like, I mean, Ben's been gone like, what, 2 years now?
Yeah, man.
And it's like, I'm still able to co-write with Ben because we have all this stuff we texted back and forth. And it's like, oh, dude, like that, here was like where he sent this verse and I sent a verse back and we worked out a chorus. And it's like, and then me and Kim added 2 more verses.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
it's like, cool. So this next record, there's going to be a Ben Hall co-write. Like,
That's
Nice.
posthumously
awesome.
written.
That's kind of exciting.
So it's like, cool, here's a song where me and him just kind of texted back and forth. So I started going back through all my texts and was like, oh yeah, dude, like that's actually really good. Like we hit on something. Because a lot of times it'd be like, oh, here's this. And we'd say stuff back and forth. It'd be like, one of us would be like, yeah, no.
That's done.
We did that. We tried.
Well, I'm very similar to you, as I will write an entire verse and a chorus and then nothing else will come.
It's like once the feeling's gone,
Yeah.
the emotion behind it, like whatever inspires
Yeah,
it.
maybe I don't want to really revisit that. So I just walk away from it.
Yeah. Well, so Bleeding Heart Blues started November of 2016.
Oh,
if any of us remember November of 2016.
Something comes to mind.
Something comes to mind, and
Yes.
I woke up mad. And I wrote the first verse. And I might have written a bit of chorus, but it sat in a notebook for 5 years.
Wow.
And then I sent it to my friend Lori, because I was like, let me work with somebody new. So I sent it to her, and I told her I wanted it to be kind of upbeat, and because I didn't want people to be able to catch the lyrics. I wanted them to like be jamming along to it and love it, and then go, hey,
Wait a minute.
wait a minute.
What did she just say?
Right, exactly.
Having feelings now.
Well, It turned out the exact opposite, but I knew that what she had sent to me, because as soon as she sent it, it got stuck in my head. I'd be in the shower with her tune in my head. And so I was like, well, this is how the song goes now. And then Matt Harlan wrote a chorus for it.
Nice.
Right on, man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's so talented. He goes, oh, I see what you want to do. He's like,
Like, dang it, why are you so good?
I know. It's like we went to the first thing he did he took over at Anderson Fair. He's like, I just wanted to write a song for this. So I started this like 2 days ago. It's like,
brilliant. Yeah.
it's like, asshole.
Yeah, no.
It's not fair, Matt. Stop.
His latest single that's out right now was co-write with him and Charlie
Harrison
and Gabe Wooten.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Of course, if you know,
How the hell they get Gabe to do that? Because everybody I know writes with Gabe's like, yeah, man, but there's like some beer in here. Like, we don't have to be doing all this songwriting stuff. And
I don't know how it happened.
they're probably fixing to head to the bar. And it's like, we can't leave till we finish this. Gabe's like, there's the verse. Let's go.
Let's go fishing.
Did somebody say beer?
Here are some of my best lines ever. Let's go grab
you
a
can
beer.
have them. It's fine.
It's like, damn it.
Yeah, Gabe. I've known Gabe, I should say, for probably 20 years. He opened for, they were still called the Sidehill Gougers then, not the Gougers, the Sidehill Gougers, at their last full band performance, which was at Firehouse Saloon before their,
Yeah.
the band separated and they became the Gougers. They had, a drummer and a bass player and, and two guitarists, Shane and Jamie Lynn, and he opened and he played Crickets, that show, which I think somebody else ended up covering and taking. Rich O'Toole kind of took it to the Texas Red Dirt charts and kind of made something of himself with that cover. I just remember like walking away from the stage and then he started singing and walking back to the stage and just staring at him going, oh, this is the next I love it, because it had if I had a boat connotations to it where I was just like, oh,
I think I've only heard him play that song one time.
yeah. And I've only heard him sing it that one time. And that's probably 20 years ago. And
Time's a motherfucker.
yeah. And it was like, oh, but also, it's exactly right as a Texas, young Texas singer-songwriter to kind of not go Guadalupe River and Shiner Bach. He decided to go the other way. And it's very...
Trio and Lone Star?
Yeah, it's a very... Yeah.
Chili Pie and Lone Stars.
Yeah.
That's the
exactly.
Gabe Wooten way.
Right. And so he had a moment of perfection in capturing a little bit of the solemnness of writing a song and also the things that, for me, it's just a childhood memory of the sound of Texas outside. Mm-hmm. He captured it.
Well, man, it's funny hanging around. Like, we start going through all the people we know, like mutually that we played with and everything. You do get that total imposter syndrome thing going. Like, I suck.
Like, how am I lucky enough to be with these people?
I guess every group's got to have the jackass. So, I know we've kind of had that discussion before, and then you come out and y'all just fucking knock this record out of the park. So it's kind of cool.
Are we the jackass?
I thought we were.
Y'all are? We are.
I am.
Bright Wires? Bunch of jackasses?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
That would explain your fucking popularity.
Right.
So one of the things Amie and I talk about as a band is that and I think you guys have discovered this as well. It feels that way, that your best audiences are strangers. That you do really well in rooms where there's no you don't expect to do well there because nobody knows who you are. And we have had our best nights in rooms full of people who have never heard a note, and it's been a long time. Now the asterisk there is we have not played out in years.
Yeah,
not really.
We're heading in just a second. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this new album, we have been rehearsing with with our drummer Bryant and very luckily two local musicians, one of which I met through a sale on Facebook. I sold a 12-string Dan Electro that I had, and when I was delivering it, he was kind enough to take on some amps in our PA head that my tech was going to work on. They were friends, and that's how he got turned on to this sale. Hey, my buddy Randy is selling this. You should look at it. And, back and forth a little bit. Didn't really talk to him after that much, but we got along really well. And then he reached out, hey, did you guys, finalize on a bass player? I said, no, it didn't work out. I play bass. And he started coming over and can play bass and can play mandolin and plays guitar like a real well.
Nice.
Great vocalist. Name's Mike Roberts. He's a songwriter.
We started writing together.
So there's some magic, and
Nice.
he it was like, well, let me help you out by playing bass for a couple, so you can at least hear it. And he kept showing up.
Well, it's
Because
you
we
cook
feed
for
people.
I was saying,
Yeah.
it's a pretty good deal.
And so,
Like a stray cat.
and then another guy who I've known for years, a customer at Central Market where I work, I saw a video from a show at a venue that we had played the weekend before in Lake Jackson, and he was on guitar with another. And I recognized the venue, and so next time I saw him at work, I was like, "Hey, I didn't know you played. I saw you were playing in Lake Jackson at the Worst House." He's like, "Oh yeah, we played there last weekend." "Oh, you play?" And we started talking about gear, and I said, "I saw you were playing to this and plugged into that." And he's like, "Oh, I got one of those. Well, I got one of these." And then we started trading gear. "Hey, why don't you play this? I'll play that."
So you just become best friends?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
And then about 3 or 4 months ago, he was talking about being just burned out. He'd been playing the blues in Houston for like 30 years. Played with the Texas Destroyers back in the 90s, played for years here in Houston, and he just kind of wanted to try something different. And he's like, hey, send me your music. And I sent him over, and he's like, and I said, hey, we're practicing next Tuesday. I'll be there. I was like, oh crap. And he came in, and he's a real good guitar player. And he was like, "Oh, you're capoed? I guess I better go home and practice, because
But he's always so apologetic. Like, he's like, "I'm so sorry. I'll get better. I'll get better." I'm like,
yeah."
we would go out with you right now and not be embarrassed.
After one practice, I was like, "Oh shit!"
If he gets better, we got to get better.
Yeah,
Right,
Yeah, no,
exactly.
exactly. And
These are our songs.
And he got better. And so his name's Doug Black, a super sweet human. Both guys are, and Bryant too. It's like actually
very sweet.
the two assholes in the band are us.
I'm definitely the biggest
It's
asshole.
not surprising.
Yeah, and it's a band full of sweethearts. And Scott Benton, who played keys on the record, is going to sit in with us at the record release show. So it's going to be a 6-piece.
Wow.
That'll be right on.
Yeah,
Man.
and everybody's excited about playing the show and talking about, well, we could do this and we could do that, and I'm kind of at that point. I'm like, I think I might back up a little bit and let the musicians kind of take over and say, hey, keeping this simple, what can we do or do less of for the show? Because y'all are following
To get out
me
of
and
their
I'm
way.
holding on for dear life. What if you weren't following me and kind of said, well, here's how it really should go?
Right.
Here's some notes here's the key the song is actually in.
So when is this album release show? And where?
July 29th at Shoeshine Charlie's Big Top
Is that a Saturday?
on Saturday the 29th. You guys will be out of town.
Is this another of our friends'
so sad.
release
Yeah,
shows that we're
we're
missing
missing.
at Shoeshine Charlie's?
That's
Yeah.
the thing. That's the 2023 Brightwire theme is just not being in town when friends release records.
we are the assholes. That's what it is.
Well, there is the caveat that perhaps your friends are checking your tour schedule and going, oh, we should do it this
We
week.
should do
We
it.
don't. When are those assholes not going to
We
come?
didn't think of that.
One of those spotlight stealing bastards from Brightwire.
Walk in and be like, "Hi, everyone, it's us."
Can we do that again? There's no spotlight on the door.
Here's what we need. We'll go be seated at your show.
We would love to have you seen at our show.
Right? It's just
Checking in.
I tell you what, I am going to play lottery tomorrow. If I hit, I'll fly you back directly after you finish, so we'll fly you back
Consider it
in.
Done.
thank y'all very much. We got to go back to Houston.
So we can be seen.
So we can be seen at the show. Brightwire.
That is awesome. So if you are anywhere near downtown Houston on July 29th,
We fully
just go
expect you to
the
be
Big
there.
Top.
Yes, I think it's going to be a really good show. Matt Harlan's our opening act.
I was going to say, are you guys playing with anybody?
Yeah, we have support that night from Matt Harlan, who will probably sit in with us as well. And so,
At the very least, hang out and drink beer with
yeah,
us.
exactly. There is a threat of Bart Maloney, who played pedal steel and lead guitar on the record, marching down the stairs from his apartment in Midtown to make it to Big Top.
Oh, good
So I don't know if he's going to
Bart.
sit in or not, but
He might be seen.
he might be seen.
Definitely be seen there.
There
There'll be lots of celebrity sightings of the Houston music scene.
Yeah. We went out Friday night to Dan Electro's to see Mark Riddell's band, and it was wall to wall people who had played on the record or people we knew who played in town, and they were very sweet. Like, they knew when the record release show was. They kind of, as a whole, said, if I'm not playing that night, I will be there. And, and it's not people that I know all that well saying this stuff, but they were all super happy to see us and very sweet. And it was equal parts like, okay, awesome. Also, we were going to practice our ass
Right.
off.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of expectations now. I wasn't nervous. Now I am.
I am going to kill the laser and fog budget and put it into metronome budget.
So there's not, we haven't really had a situation where I've ever felt like, oh crap, we're about to play with this band. We had better practice. And that happened for the first time a few weeks ago. And I was like,
Who were you playing with?
oh God, we can't play with these people. Sorry. So I know that feeling. And when
was
they want to
it?
play with you.
Yeah, who was it that you played with?
Oh no, we haven't played with them yet.
Oh, you haven't played with them yet.
In August, we're playing with Shame on Me and playing with y'all at Black Magic Social Club. And if you haven't ever heard or seen Shame on Me, they're
real good.
They are real good. Dual female vocalist, like kind of rockabilly, kind of
Nice.
like
Bluesy.
yeah. And I mean, it's just like that's where Kim was like both of the
My mouth
vocalists together. She was
dropped
just like,
open at the beginning of the video. And I was like, we can't.
We shared. I know I've shared this with you, but what's the song that you sat in with Grifters and Chills at Big Top?
Live on Purpose.
Live on
And that's the track on the album, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I mean, I straight up told John that night. I said, "That's your single. That's your single." Like I was like, "Oh my god!" It was. So you're selling yourself way short because Grifters and Chills can hold their own, and then you throw your vocals in there with that. And I was like, if I was out searching for bands, I would be like, okay, sign in y'all. Here's the single. I'm so sorry you have to leave that other band.
I can't leave the band.
Man, how's that working out?
Married to the band.
Oh, that'll do it.
I know.
I'm in a long-term relationship with this
You
band.
can be like the Mary Lambert, like or the Macklemore thing. Just come out and do your one song with Grifters and Chills, and then come back home and be like,
Go fly home.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome.
I could.
When I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit. I know you find that hard to believe. So I was, in 2009, my friend Greg Gamble, who built almost all the guitars used on this record, Gamble Guitar Works out of Frisco, Texas. Greg Gamble is a amazing human being, super supportive of rock and roll throughout the world, and very well-known bands and not so well-known bands use his gear, and it's fantastic stuff. Back up to 2009, however it happened, we ended up being the guitar techs for a band of heathens on Austin City Limits, and we got to hang out with the crew, and this is at the old location, the original PBS studios, and they were talking about, hey, you want to sit at that piano? That's where Fats Domino sat, and that's where Ray Charles sat, and that's where,
Oh my God.
they're going to use it tonight. And they're like, we're going to use that one. But they were talking about, and they knew everybody, and they talked about it. And they're like, so is this what you guys take on tour? Talking about our cubby hole where we had all of our notes and our guitars and our tuning stuff. And they're like, y'all have a rack somewhere? You want us to pack this up for you? We're like, no, we just the stuff we brought from home. Oh, you don't tour with them? We're like, no. And we're like, oh, because we've seen touring bands and they don't have any of this stuff, and they should. And we're like, okay.
Greg's really good at being a guitar tech, though.
Yeah.
I saw his toolbox, a couple months ago when he was in town, and it's so well organized, like the capos and the WD-40 and the guitar strings and the just everything you could possibly need for if something goes sideways at a
and this
show.
was before we were adults and we could do things like that, but we were just like, okay, thank you. But well, they were telling us stories about some of the big bands, and this goes back to the Mary Lambert fly-in date, is the Beach Boys this is 2009, and they were still touring pretty heavily. They would do 2 shows every Saturday and 2 shows every Sunday.
Oh my God.
Nationwide. They would fly in, do a show at a state fair.
Wow.
Fly
to the next city?
Fly out, go do the night show, and they would play for 60 minutes, both nights. And if they landed and got to the venue and there wasn't a jacuzzi backstage at the proper temperature, they just turned around and got back on the plane and flew out with their check.
I mean, I can't wait till we're at that point where that can be in the rider.
No jacuzzi?
Yeah,
No
right.
jacuzzi? Well, then, fuck you.
I just hope I'm never that much of an asshole.
Right?
Well,
I don't.
You got to come out of retirement then.
Well, they weren't young in 2009, though. It might have been like
That
for
was-
recuperation.
It wasn't jacuzzi for the chicks. It was
bones.
therapeutic.
Right.
I was like, no,
I can't go on stage unless I sit in this thing for 30
my
minutes.
bulging discs.
Sadly, we're all
that is
aging,
true.
and we know
Dead man's
that.
curve. You mean my hip?
Hey, we were just happy. We played a gig on Saturday. We showed up. The pop-up was over the stage already.
Yeah, dude, huge shout out to Fredonia Brewing for being
Nacogdoches,
like
Texas?
the coolest place ever.
We drove by Nacogdoches not 2 weeks ago.
Fan already on the stage.
Porticool, not a
porticool.
fan.
Not a fan,
That's right.
a porticle.
Nice.
Already on the back of the stage, 2 umbrellas on either side of the stage so that we could also get a little bit of extra shade.
Like
I mean,
completely
they didn't want y'all
shaded
broken out.
stage area. And that I was like, dude, like I've never even played like professional venues that have set up anything
Right?
this nice. Like I felt like I was at the Woodlands or something with the porticools on the side of the stage.
My rider's just going to be like, I just need shade.
Shade. I actually had a moment in my head today. I was thinking about that realization I had of being at a show. I think this would have been in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. Dave Matthews at the Woodlands and my friend Rolf Roostrom. Shout out Rolf. We spoke to him today. I think today, was it today or yesterday?
I think it's just
Yeah, anyway. He was, at the time, I guess it was a member of the, like the Dave Matthews fan club or whatever, where you get VIP seating ahead of the release or whatever. This was kind of before the Eventbrite Ticketmaster nonsense. But we were an orchestra, so pretty far up seating. And
like you're looking up at the stage.
like the amount of air conditioning coming off the stage at Cynthia Woods was almost blowing my head back. And I was like, oh, there's a different level
Right.
of professional musicians that people are like, I can't believe how hot it was out there. And those guys are still playing. I'm like, they were freezing their asses off.
Oh yeah, dude. We did like photo stuff then. It was always like, can we please just go 10 minutes early to the front of the stage? I can just stand there. It's like
And I had
110 back here.
And then hearing Henry Rollins, talk about get in the van. Some of the notes that I didn't like side fills. I didn't understand until you're in a venue that has side fills, and you're like, oh, that's so different to have, because it's like monitors and then things that actually go to your ears.
Right.
It's like, oh man, okay,
These people are professional.
this is great.
This makes sense.
And to be like, no side fills, no gig kind of a thing. And that's kind of where he is. He's like, I will not perform in this venue if you do not have side fills. You can take all my front monitors out and give me sides before I'll do this show. I'm like, oh, okay. Starting to understand a little bit about how that's done is that, and like you said, just that little extra effort from a venue that you are not expecting it from is insanity.
nice.
So yeah, we just had to feel like give them a proper shout out because that was.
Because you guys will
That
do
was
that
real,
for
son.
Donia like once or twice a year.
Yeah.
That's
How often as they'll have us.
Yeah, that's it's a good gig if you'll haul up there to do it.
Oh yeah, man.
But you guys
They
are
were
not
my
afraid
folks.
of the road. And
No.
that's that's always and
Loves
that's
traffic.
very impressive. Very impressive.
You can do a lot of things in a Kia Soul.
Yeah, learning.
Sam
Well,
and I
you know
can't,
what?
but-
The tour vehicle for Little Outfit since 2008 has. Before it was Little Outfit, it was 2008.
Randy's Element.
Yeah, Randy's Element has
car ever put
has
on
hauled
wheels.
trailers worth of gear that it should not haul.
Hauled it all the way to Colorado.
Oh man,
Up a
it's
mountain.
been-
And this one just bought a new vehicle. He's like, I'm going to buy a truck. Yeah, so I can't drive you guys anywhere.
Then you got the wrong truck.
I had a 15-passenger van for the longest time, and you guys weren't calling.
What happened?
It's fine. Yeah, we didn't need a 15-passenger van. We
No.
fit. We were fine.
It's true. We really are. Since
It also keeps us from making bad decisions. Like, dude, we need a rhythm section.
That's what I was about to say, like hiring a drummer.
It is quite nice.
It's like, no, we're good now.
we can't fit anymore in the soul. So
If we start playing touring specifically places that have PAs, we could get a dude that has one of those like
He's gonna
kick
have to be
snare,
skinny.
like where it's just the head, right? And it's just that's it. And be like, that's the drum kit that clamps down to basically like the size of a toilet seat. And it's like, there, you fit. You can get in here.
You're allowed.
I think that's why you guys and Grifters and Shills work so well together, is that y'all's footprint and why you're so infinitely hireable is both bands as a package are infinitely hireable because your footprint is nothing. Even as complex as their setup is, it's a tiny footprint.
Right.
And so turnaround is nothing.
Yeah, even John with all of his bullshit and and then Rebecca
I
and
believe
stuff.
that's what I just said in a much more genteel and
nice.
Right, but it's like, they don't take up much more space than like a drum kit. Like if a
Right.
dude has like a 5-piece shell kit, like that takes up as much space as both of them together.
Right.
So it really is like, we'll put you on the drum riser and then we'll play in front of that.
yeah.
So if we don't want to be way backstage, like, can you kick my ass? Like, let's do this now. Stole.
okay, bring
Let's go, Stoll.
Like, never mind.
Go change into your running shoes, Mr. In Shape. Damn it.
Oh, if it was a race, John would win.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
it's the same.
If there was a race to get
100%.
yes,
It's like me and John's fight like the Mike Tyson thing. If it goes over a round, I'm probably going to lose. But if I make connect in that first round, it's over.
Lights out.
nice.
If I can connect.
That's nice.
If I get one punch in that open round, it's over. But
Like old
after a
Butterbean.
while, it's like, what's the
He just bobs and weaves. So
Just
just fall over dead by the third round just because I hyperventilate.
Right.
I hope John listens to that.
that's so funny. Yeah. So she has not quite finished the musical journey, but the way that Little Outfit formed was we had a practice room and she quit her job and
like not a put in 2 weeks notice situation.
Like-
You know what? I am not doing this for a fraction of a second longer.
I'm out.
I took off my badge. I took off my pager. I worked at a hospital and handed it to my boss. I said, okay, then I quit.
Damn.
I bet that
And so she walked out of the hospital and walked into the rehearsal, and we just started jamming, and there was something there. And it's funny because none of the songs we were playing then to kind of find our way did we ever really play live. And they were
No, that's not true. We played Heartless Bastards
from the get-go.
from Jump. That was a day one
Was
song.
it really? Oh man! Well, we don't do that song anymore, but it was good. But no, I mean, but it was very eclectic choices. Like we were working on songs by covers by The Dead Weather, The Heavy, Daniel Lanois, Heartless Bastards, Black Dub, a band that Daniel Lanois formed with Trixie Whitley, who is Chris Whitley's daughter, from kind of somewhat of a Houstonian. Very, so an eclectic change, and I was kind of messing around on drums for that and kind of playing guitar. And so there was pretty instantly, it's like, oh, this is so different than anything else that I've been doing.
Right.
Where's this going to go?
Had
And
you guys done anything together at that point, or you were just dating?
Oh, we'd been together for
no,
that
as
sounds-
far
They've
as
done some
musically
stuff
speaking,
together.
no.
Nothing musically.
I was a
music.
virgin. No.
So after the Cokes and Whores,
But no, musically we had not done anything.
No.
We had talked about it, but the opportunity hadn't been there. And when I quit my job, Randy's like, well, come on, let's come to the practice room. It was literally like, quit the job, called Randy crying to come pick me up because he dropped me off at work that morning. And
This will cheer you up. Let's go to practice.
yeah, no, exactly.
To work.
Yeah.
let's
take your
sing
mind off of what
let's
just
sing it
happened.
out. And so we just started jamming.
And then a year later, we had a gig.
Was it a year later?
Yeah, because we
it a
kind of
year?
tooled around with like what the band was going to sound like and who was going to play bass and all that. And that's when we
And then when we stepped it up from that point on, we went to a two practices a week. So like 8 hours a week we were in the practice room because we had already seen what sort of practicing did. What if we doubled it and focused? And so by the time
and what if we ate together twice a week?
yeah, and eventually we had to knock it down to one practice because we were gigging so much.
Yeah.
But that came much later. But by the time we played our first show, it was a pretty well-oiled machine, and it showed, and it felt different.
Yeah, 'cause that was really it, man. That was kind of when that all happened, went from, because for a while there, me and Randy were like the rhythm section of the Houston singer-songwriter community.
Yeah.
And then it was
You got a
just kind of
girlfriend
like,
who left you.
well, no, just, yeah, but everyone
was a
just
little
kind of
like
started
that.
getting, it all happened on that. Everyone started getting bands they started to get serious about.
Right.
Where before it was like this free for all. It was just everybody was like, dude, what are you doing speaking? You need a drummer, you need a bass player, you need a guitar player. So it was like everybody was playing with everybody else. And it was like the same band would be 5 different bands where it's just like, okay, dude, you play bass last week's the singer this week, and this person's doing this. And it would just be the same dudes, just in different configurations of who played acoustic and sang and who did what in the background.
Right.
But for some reason, Randy got delegated to like, you're the drummer.
And you're going to haul the gear.
And you're going to do sound. Yeah, which
Once you had the PA.
Yeah.
It's a double whammy.
That's how I weasel my way. I was like, I have a PA.
Well, I think, that's really what happened. Is I was storing the gear and hauling the gear, so I just kind of became.
Infinitely
So
useful,
I would have a monitor on my right and a PA head on my left, and so it was check. So I was mixing while I was playing
Awesome.
for
like for real.
for real.
And he still kind of does that,
And I got to the point where I would run a monitor for the stage, and I would run a second monitor for what was being played in the mains.
That's smart.
So I could hear the room too. And I was just like,
That's what I do. Yeah.
yeah. And it was like, oh my gosh, it was insane there for a while. It was insane there. But, like Amie was saying, the configuration of Little Outfit, started the trio, went to a 5-piece, COVID hit, everything went away, reformed to make the record.
Well, really, and reformed in a way that you were suddenly able to move forward and create a record.
Yeah.
And do all this and move, where it was kind of, 10 years of just like, okay, when are we going to...
Right.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where I think even at the bigger levels, it happens, you don't think of it the same, but it does, is as you get busier, you do not have time for the creative process.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And so you have to make a sacrifice of, do we hone what's happening on stage so that it gets us the next gig, or do we have, and I think it does take a sense of maturity of, we're going to do this and then we're going to stop and go do this, so that when we, creatively speaking, we're moving forward. And we didn't do that. And we learned a valuable lesson. And so, sitting down with Jeff this past weekend, thinking in terms of the next record was really quickly the conversation of what's Little Outfit going to do
I
next.
got to get to writing.
And but now, like, going back to these people in the room practicing with us, is that Mike he's got melodies in his head. He doesn't necessarily have lyrics, and I think and he's kind of said he's not really a lyricist, but he's got melodies, and
But that's really good for me.
Yeah.
so that she has something to write to, and so
Right.
Because when I write, it's only lyrics because I don't play an instrument,
Right.
So it's just lyrics that come out of me, and it's never lyrics with any kind of a tune. So I just kind of write down something like, okay, this has a cadence. All right. Oh, and these words sound good strung together. That paints a picture. and then I just hand it to somebody and go, here.
Do you have a
Do you have something that's right?
well,
Make
and,
this
and,
sound
and,
pretty.
That's the reverse of how, well, not necessarily the reverse, but that's certainly how a lot of very famous pairings over the course of musical history have happened. And there's, going back to the
Bernie the second.
Yeah, Bernie and Elton, obviously,
yeah.
Robert Hunter and Jerry Garcia, very obviously. But then you get Mike Campbell would send fully formed and not fully formed melodies to Tom. And that's where his lyrical inspiration came from. And Mike was like, I never knew. And so that's magic. And
Yeah.
and I think like the tune, she's got a new song she's working on right now that Mike came up with a melody for, and very quickly it was stuck in our heads. And
Yeah, anytime I listen to it or pick up the lyrics again, it gets stuck in my head again.
And our
I'm like, well,
drummer
this is how
was-
the song goes.
Right, well, it's easy to learn the song. You're like, good. That means it's a good song.
Right,
If I can learn it.
Right. If
instantly.
you're humming the melody pretty quickly, and our drummer was like, he heard like very Kings of Leon drum stuff, and he's young enough that he's in his 30s. Everyone else is in their 40s or 50s, and so there's this interesting wave of how things are coming together, and all of those work really well together. To have a drummer thinking in terms of, I know how to play drums to this.
Yeah.
I know how to make this power pop radio friendly, or we can go the other way and I can turn it into the next Zeppelin tune, but I can hear it already. Right.
That's cool.
That's incredibly important, rare, and generous of everyone involved to think, how do I start the song immediately?
Right.
And that's an incredibly, I know how lucky we are to have that, for
And
sure.
you found it, and you're going to do it again.
Yeah.
Might be sending you some lyrics.
Yeah,
soon.
yeah, and that's
every day.
I think Matt Harlan and I were trading texts just recently about some things that we had talked about very seriously a few years ago, and I just wanted to remind him, hey, we should talk again if you'd like, just to refresh and see what you need to do next. If I can help you find that way, I'm certainly happy to. And these are personal discussions, but it begat an idea for a song very quickly, and he's a massively talented songwriter, so to sit down with him and potentially write a song and without even really discussing it, we both kind of were of the mindset it should be a song that we perform our version of it and he performs his version of it.
Oh, yeah.
Not us covering Matt Harlan's or him covering Little Outfits.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
and that's a fun way to do it. And I only recently found out about that being a thing that happens,
Well, yeah, it's like the whole, was it Ray Wiley Hubbard, Hayes Carl,
Right.
Drunken Poet's Dream, like their
Right.
versions, you can tell they started together, but they went different places with the song.
Yeah. Exactly. Truth be told, I don't know if I've heard Hayes' version because I love Ray Wiley's. And when they did the tribute record, Band of Heathens covered that, and of course they nailed it. It's insanity. I was like, oh god, I play that. I play a lot of air guitar on unplugged instruments in the kitchen while I'm making breakfast. That's where I kind of learned songs. Is standing in the kitchen. She'll walk in. I'm sitting there with a Strat going, breakfast is almost done.
Bacon's gonna be a little crispy.
Because I'm working on Lucinda Williams right now. So
Man,
Go
that's
to the
it.
mall.
You never know when inspiration hits. Could be while you're making breakfast.
I can tell you when it hits. It hits between 8:40 and 9:15 because that's when I'm in the kitchen making breakfast.
All right, man. Well, on that note, thank y'all for coming in and hanging out.
Hey, thank you so much.
Appreciate
Yeah,
This was
thank
fun.
you.
This
Thank
has
you for
been
having
great.
us.
Good to catch up with y'all, man. And, don't miss that CD release show or album
Saturday,
release.
July 29th.
Yes. So we should.
There will
we
not
should,
be a CD. It'll be
let's-
an album release
we-
show.
We will be very transparent with the podcast audience. The record drops on the 25th of July on all streaming platforms.
6 days from right now.
No.
The
Now,
25th?
when this gets
Oh,
released.
whatever.
yes. 6 days from right now, and we're playing a record release show. The vinyl copies of said record, which you can pre-order through Bandcamp, should be available this fall. If you need a hard copy of said record, we will be happy to provide
Please do
that for
pre-order.
you.
We would appreciate it.
Yes,
And it would be very cool to
And,
have
we-
in your
we-
collection.
Yes, we are huge fans of the band Brightwire, and so we're very, very honored to be here, and we want to thank you for having us.
I'm excited to
You're
put
very
that record
welcome.
on our record player.
I know. All right, man. See y'all next time. Later.
Good night.
Bye.
All right, y'all. Thanks for listening to this episode of Music in the Minor League. If you like what you hear, please share the podcast with your friends, man. It helps us grow it, gives exposure to all these bands. We'd really appreciate it. If you want to support Little Outfit as they're releasing this record, again, 2 singles are out, man. Check them out. Follow on all your streaming networks. They'll be on KPFT this Saturday with Sandy, so check that out, man. Their album will be out on the 25th, which is 1 week from today, and they'll be doing their release show on the 29th at Shoeshine Charlie's Big Top Lounge in Midtown. It's going to be a great show. A lot of people there, man. Go out and support them. So with that, we'll see you in 2 more weeks with another episode, our 25th. Really excited about that. So now we're going to leave you with a song, my favorite song from Little Outfit. This one's called 22 Miles, man. Hope y'all dig it. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Later.